Do our beliefs change over time? I'm so excited to comment on this question that nobody asked me. With Sagittarius season coming up, that is like one of the biggest functions of Sagittarius energy is that it is where we refine our beliefs. And when we think about any of the 12 zodiac energies, they all have a spectrum of possibilities, a spectrum of lower vibrational possibilities and higher vibrational possibilities. That means better feeling or worse feeling, you know? So with Sagittarius, like the lower frequency end is dogmatism, which means unyielding belief system that does not take into account any new information. It doesn't listen to anything outside of what it's already decided is true. That's like, the Carly definition of dogmatism. I'm sure you won't find that version in any dictionary anywhere in the world, but that's my understanding of the rigidity of one's own viewpoint. And that is very much the shadow side of Sagittarius, is that you're right, you know what you believe is true, and that makes everybody who believes something different than that wrong, and there's not true. We see this in religious wars all over the world. Like Byron Katie says, like if you believed what they believe, you would bomb them too. Our beliefs are very, very critically important in terms of the choices that we end up making on a day-to-day basis. And that's really why, we see Sagittarius season, I think, come right before Capricorn, where in Sagittarius season, we get to refine and illuminate and clarify what we believe is true about the world. Like Sagittarius in general kind of could be summarized as our philosophy about the meaning of life. Whether you've ever given that a single moment's thought, you do have your own philosophy. And Sagittarius season would be a great time to get more familiar, ask yourself some questions about what do you believe about how the world works and why humanity is here and what the reasons for things are. What do you believe is true? And it can be really easy to slough it off like that's too big to answer, like I don't know. But again, Sagittarius season is a great time to get clear on that, because when we get into Capricorn, where we're dealing with our legacy and our vision of what we're here to create in the world, the structure that we personally want to use our energy to build, we could do anything. And inside of anything is a sort of paralysis, because we have to choose something in order to be able to move forward. And how on earth would you ever decide from infinite possibilities without a strong structure of belief about why you're here, what you're here to do, and the timing and the life that you have manifested in this miraculous freaking experiment of a time-space reality? What's it for? What do you want it to be for? And that is kind of the basis of then really honestly answering, how do you want to spend your life? How do you want to spend your time? How do you want to direct your energy? Getting clear on our beliefs is a necessary step in that process. And at the highest frequency of Sagittarius is a sort of plasticity within our beliefs, where we fully understand that every single moment that we ever live on this planet will absolutely influence our beliefs. Every moment, every single conversation that you ever have with someone updates your beliefs. Every single thought that ever occurs to you while you're driving in your car, that updates your beliefs. And if that sounds overwhelming, deep breaths, this is not something that is going to happen all at once, is my point. There's a process within Gemini and Sagittarius energy that moves back and forth, where within Gemini energy, we take in new information. And within Saturn, or not Saturn, Sagittarius energy, we process that information and we take from it the revisions to what we now believe is true. After having that conversation, either we have added to the truth that we already held, we've clarified it in some new way, perhaps we've discarded a piece of it because now we believe something different is true. That was the experience of finding Abraham Hicks. For me, it felt like years, like at least a few years of one at a time discarding one little section of my beliefs and replacing it with what I could feel through resonance was true for me, was true about what I actually believed about the world, not just what I had been taught is true, what I could feel is true. And I think you can't really talk about Sagittarius energy without talking about resonance, because that's really where I think our inner truth is coming, is in what we're resonating with. And every time we resonate, which is typically a positive experience, our beliefs shift. That's essentially what resonance is an updating of what we now know is true. We have a clearer version of our own truth every time we resonate with something. And this is kind of a little bit more back on the Aries side of things, where in order to really create a spark, which is to say, like Aries being cardinal fire, to get a spark, you need friction. And so to have somebody whose beliefs are different from yours, and it encourages you to feel a rush of negative emotion. Resonance is typically like a positive rush of emotion, or a positive physical sensation. And I think we get a very similar outcome when we disagree with people. Like when you get to disagree with someone, that is also letting you clarify what you believe and help you to further define in even more detail for yourself what and why is that true. And that process is so beautiful. Like when you single out Sagittarius energy as far as helping us to know what we believe to be true. And I think the word for that is beliefs, right? Like that's how I understand it. That's how I would define it. That's my belief about what beliefs are. And the reason that's so huge is because I think from my own lived experience thus far, and remember, every moment that passes, my beliefs are updating, so I'll keep you posted if this shifts. But I believe that the beliefs that we hold about ourselves and the world are what create the fabric of our life. And so when we believe that we are not lovable, when we believe that we have nothing to offer to this world, when we believe that everybody is against us, no one understands me. That was my personal favorite. When we hold beliefs like that, we can't help but see the world that way. And every time we have a rush of positive resonance, we shift our beliefs into a place that more closely matches the beliefs of our soul. I personally think like resonance is like your soul agreeing with what you're thinking in that moment. Like it's an emotional reaction to a thought that you're holding or something that you're paying attention to. It's like your soul taking a step forward and saying, yes, please, more of that. So that's like super, super duper helpful to understand that, like, it's not about defining what's true so that you can be done with that, so that, like, check that off your list. Like, it's like kind of every day, season after season of your life, like, what do you think is true now? now that you've lived up until today, this very moment, what's true now. And to continue to evolve in that space is the highest frequency of Sagittarius energy, again, at least in my experience and in my beliefs.